Hey everybody, this is Mark. Today I'm going to do a reading from the Embracing Lilith Myth, Part 4. I believe this is Chapter 3. If you have not, seen or listened to the other ones, you do want to go back and listen to Part 1, 2, and 3 before you listen to this, because it is a continuation. This is from my book, Embracing Lilith, and it's the myth I put together by bringing all of the different myths together. Now, remember, it is a myth. It's not meant to be the way things are, or the way things really happened, or scientifically correct, or anything like that. It's a myth. So hopefully you'll enjoy. I did want to mention that the cover or the artwork that's on this presentation is the Portuguese version of Embracing Lilith, which was released recently in Brazil. So let's get started. If you like our content, please like and subscribe. Chapter 3, Lilith and Samael form an unholy union. Zohar 23b and 55a. I spent what seemed like eternity alternating between rage and despair, rarely leaving my cave in the realm of Nod. Once in a while, I would see creatures slink by the opening, but none ever entered. I know they feared me, and with good reason. I was in a mood to destroy anyone or anything which came in my direction. My initial feeling that the fact Adam had only received his new mate Eve by being separated into two beings was an abomination quickly faded to jealousy. How could he have what he wanted, and I still be all alone? Why would Father and Mother God make me suffer so and give him, so unworthy, everything he desired? I even called out to them to provide me with a mate, but I received no answer. Apparently, they had not only abandoned me, but cut me off from communication. As my anger smoldered, a thought began to form. If I could use the secret name to fly out of Eden, and if my rage was enough to change my form, maybe I had magic enough to make my own mate instead of depending on anyone else. At first, I shied away from the idea because I feared failure. What if it didn't work? I wouldn't just be alone, but alone and even more of a failure than I'd already become. I wasn't loved by a husband whom I was created to be with. I wasn't loved by my mother and father who created me. Maybe no hope remained. Finally, I stood, unfurled my wings, concentrated on my loneliness, and spoke the secret name of God as if it were song. I felt energy erupt from me, and I waited. What must have been hours passed, and nothing happened. Eventually, I slumped to the ground in exhaustion and fell asleep, sobbing. After a dreamless sleep, I woke slowly, feeling better yet different. I no longer felt such emotional pain, but something wasn't right. I felt diminished somehow, and yet even more solid. As I sat up and turned to see a figure crouched in the dirt across from me, I realized the difference. I no longer possessed the male part of myself. Now, a separate entity, he sat no more than a couple yards away. He sat in silence, even though I assume my face must have showed him my rolling emotions of shock, disbelief, and hope. This man made for me looked beautiful, with copper-colored skin, snow-white hair, two small horns protruding from his head, and eyes so black I couldn't compare them to anything I'd ever seen. He was stunning, but absolutely no emotion played upon his face, and he crouched unmoving for so long, I began to wonder if he even lived. I tentatively spoke. I am Lilith. His only reply was, I know. For the first time since my transformation, I felt myself completely unsure of what to do. I didn't know what to say, not wanting to look weak. I chose to stand and glare at him. As I stood, he stood, but made no other move. His face remained emotionless, his bearing relaxed, but his eyes met mine, intense and probing. So you must have questions, I said awkwardly. No. I shook my head and left the cave, not sure if I should flee, pretend like nothing was wrong, or call out to God and beg forgiveness so she would take away whatever this man was. Before I could choose an action, he was standing next to me. even though I didn't hear as he approached. He startled me, but I again chose to pretend not to notice. We stood in silence for long moments, and he finally said, "I am Samiel." I tried to pretend disinterest, but then he placed his hands on the side of my face and said, "You are truly lovely." No declaration of eternal love, but more than I'd had in a very long time. My heart began to thaw, and I felt hope that things might be all right after all. That's the end of this chapter, and I will continue doing these if people are interested. Remember, if you didn't listen to part 1, 2, or 3, you should go listen to those before you go on. If you like our content, please like and subscribe. And I did want to say too, my microphone's broken, so I'm using one off of a webcam. So this may not be the best audio, but when I listened to the last one, it wasn't horrible. I am getting a new microphone, so hopefully that'll be fixed with the next recording. Thank you. Take care.